In this video, you will learn how to start a $100,000 career on YouTube. Has 180,000 subscribers, over millions and millions of views across the YouTube space. But YouTube is easily one of the most oversaturated places for passionate entrepreneurs. So although it may seem hard or impossible to do so, there are so many creators that are blowing up and making thousands, if not millions of dollars doing so.
When I was in college, I started getting paid by YouTube. Eventually, through working on it, it ended up being equivalent to my paycheck at work.
And although creating a YouTube career may seem hard, it is definitely not impossible to make a living. So today we sit down with Perez, better known as Moxie Boosted. He has over 180,000 subscribers, makes over $100,000 per year, and he does all of this by posting videos of him playing video games about Pokemon.
You can't really succeed before you put yourself in a position that is best for you personally to succeed.
In this video, we actually reveal how he started from 0 to 180,000, but also he provides a roadmap and step-by-step strategy, as well as a 4 key point checklist on exactly how you can do what he did in your own niche. So if you're interested, sit back, grab some popcorn, and take some notes because we are ready to dive right into our conversation. I hope you guys enjoy. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, bro.
I'm fired up, guys, and appreciate you having me on. We're definitely gonna chop it up.
Yeah, man, I'm doing great.
And welcome back, to the Growth Street Podcast, your #1 podcast for career development and evolution. I'm your host, Darsh Patel. In each episode, we unlock insights from the minds shaping industries and innovation. This conversation could change the way you see everything. For context, Marcos is a YouTuber, has 180,000 subscribers, on Twitter about 22,000 followers, and has over millions and millions of views across the YouTube space. You even stream too, I believe. So, your following is really large, and you've been doing this by creating a really amazing community in this gaming space in Pokemon, which a lot of people would probably never think could really fund a career or a lifestyle. So how did, I'd love to know from you, how did that happen? When did you kind of become a career? That's a crazy story.
It was an accident. I never really wanted to be like a YouTuber full time, and I even said that, when you're when you're in high school, right, and you're watching people make YouTube videos about gaming and stuff, you want to emulate that, and I definitely did. I was really into Pokemon. I would watch other creators who were big at the time, Shady Penguin or Alex Ogloza is the closest thing that there was to me, but they Alex Ogloza had 50K subscribers when I was watching them. So I ended up starting this YouTube channel, and I wasn't even particularly good at Pokemon. It was mostly just growing up, I didn't have a lot of people to play the game with, and now there's the internet. I can talk to whoever I want about the game, and it was through that I just kind of started uploading videos. Did it through high school, did it through college. Eventually, when I was in college, I started getting paid by YouTube. Paychecks weren't that big, maybe $400 or $500 in a month at most, and I would upload daily. The videos would get 2,000 views each, so that adds up. It was enough to cover rent because I had 3 roommates, and that was helpful. I went to school for physics at Illinois State, and I did some research in my undergrad. I was really lucky because Illinois State doesn't have a physics graduate program, all of the research went to the undergrads. So with my experience with research in my undergrad, my degree, eventually, post-COVID, I go and I get a job, and at this job, I'm absolutely miserable. Yeah. I'm not having a good time because it isn't even directly related to physics. It was at a water lab in Illinois. And because of that, I ended up just getting really, really into my YouTube content creation and finding purpose there. Dudes who have the job they hate, then they go home and they work on model trains. YouTube was my model train. Right? I was painting Gundams or doing fantasy draft leagues. YouTube was my substitute for that. Yeah. But I was lucky enough that because I had grown this throughout high school and college
years.
Yeah, that it was also pretty lucrative. Eventually, through just working on it, it ended up being equivalent to my paycheck at work.
Wow. And what does that number look like?
I don't want to be explicit with it, but I at my job, my first job out of college, I think I got paid $63K a year. Okay. So when YouTube matched that equivalent, like
And
effectively.
in a similar space, yeah.
Yeah, then that's when I took the dive. And keep in mind, that was when I was doing a completely different type of content. That was still like the daily upload, myself practicing
Yeah.
the game, like
Yeah.
trying out new teams. I completely shifted.
I noticed that.
Yeah. Now I do like more video essay style content, stuff that I want to like talk about, history of the game. I have a team with 2 editors, a channel artist, and I manage all the social media myself. I used to have someone manage that for me, but now it's me because I have the free time. But yeah, it was interesting. I ended up becoming a full-time YouTuber almost out of necessity.
Wow.
So what happened was like I said, like I did not enjoy my job, and going from college to a job that you hate can be a little bit jarring.
It's a tough transition.
Yeah, yeah. So what happened was I was at this job for like a year and a half, and towards the end of the summer last year, basically like a week past like my birthday, I started having like panic attacks out of nowhere. No idea where they came from.
Yeah.
But after like talking to like therapists and stuff, it sort of made sense. You know, I would get up in the morning, I would work out a little bit. Like 5 a.m. I'm up, right? Work out, make breakfast. I'm out the door going to work by like 6:50. I get to work by 7:30. 7:30 until 4:30, I'm at my job.
Yeah.
And I don't even like leave my job for lunch because they had a gym at work.
Okay.
Like, so I would use that gym. So I was in this building for like 9, 10 hours a day. You know, I drive back home another 40 minutes, sometimes an hour because of traffic in Chicago. And 5:30, I'm at my computer. Well, make dinner, right? So now it's 6:30. 6:30, I'm at my computer working on YouTube videos. That takes up like 2 to 3 hours. So now it's 9:30. I got to get up at 5. I have to go to bed. I had like a social life on the weekends.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, I'm also traveling for tournaments too.
Yeah.
So social life went out the door if it wasn't for tournaments. Eventually that will crack anybody. Like
that schedule's crazy. Yeah.
As much as like, you know, to be successful, you gotta like, you know, do the rise and grind thing.
Yeah.
Taking care of yourself is also more important at times because you can't really perform at your best if you're not feeling your best.
Yeah.
So therapist is like, I think you're overworked. I think like you're getting anxiety over like this sort of thing. So I make like a value judgment where I'm like, okay, if I'm making the same amount of money from YouTube as my job, and some months more because advertisers would pay more during like the winter months, they're trying to exhaust their trying
budgets.
to get rid of their budgets. I can do this. So I go to my parents, right?
Okay.
Because at this point, like the panic attacks got so bad, I had to move out of my apartment and back home. Like I
Wow.
had to like,
Okay.
stay with them to make sure I was fine.
You're
There was someone
okay,
to check in on me. It was so weird because like my dad's first generation, like he came here from Mexico illegally, got a citizenship over the years.
Yeah.
My mom, like 3rd generation American, that sort of thing. They have 2 different perspectives on this thing. My dad was a landscaper. I would do landscaping with him from the age of like 11 until I was like 19. I worked with him every summer, even sometimes like not even during the summer, like fall. I would get out from school and help him a little bit.
And that's a grind, man. I mean, I see them all. Dude, that is not easy work.
He's a hardworking dude, right? And my mom works in insurance. She's also like one of the hardest working people ever because she like does her job, comes home, raises like 3 kids.
Yeah.
So those 2 perspectives. I thought if anyone was going to be supportive about like the YouTube thing, when I told them like I can't like do 2 jobs.
That's a big thing to drop on your parents' head, especially when you're living with them now.
I'm living with them. I went to school for 4 years for a physics degree.
You have a job in physics at a lab.
Yeah, and they're just like, what do you mean you're not going to use it? So I told them both, and it was crazy because I remember I was so scared. It's almost like, you know, telling them like, hey, I'm going to like, I don't know. It's like telling them that you're going to move to like New York and you have nothing saved up and you're just gonna live there
it's a very risky thing to tell them.
It's almost like saying I want to move to Hollywood. I'm gonna risk it all, right? So I tell them both. My mom, absolutely not. You are not doing that. Like you are going to stick to this job. You went to school for this. You are not wasting this opportunity. And then my dad, he just goes, calmest I've ever seen the man. You know, like the immigrant dad.
Hey, I live with an immigrant dad.
Emotion first, and then okay, I'm sorry, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what was up. Maybe he was just feeling really happy that day. But he like turns to my mom, right? And he goes like, I think we should let him. And mom was like, what? She was surprised. She was like, what do you mean? Because this is the landscaper
who's been
that
working
like
so hard.
made a career working on other people's lawns for the past like 20, 30 years, like the hardest working dude you can imagine. and his son says, I want to play video games for a living, right?
Yeah.
So and then I kind of understood. So like as a Perez men in, you know, my family, like we have never been able to have a boss. We have always like needed to be in control of our schedules. My grandfather, he's never had like a normal job. He's like been a laborer. He had to work for someone else. My dad, he tried to work at a factory. Most miserable time in his life. He was always sad. Like that was during like the recession. Like he was working at this like welding job.
Yeah.
Absolutely miserable. And he told my mom, like, I'm starting up my business again. Like he failed so many times before he got to the point where he is right now, where he's like one of the larger landscaping businesses. He has like,
That's sick.
he finally has payroll. Like most of like the landscaping people in like, you know, northern Chicago, like they're very much like the, you know, you pay me, I pay my guys.
We'll
like,
get you right.
It's not exactly legit. Like he's got like payroll, he's got like managers and stuff, right?
Wow.
So like that's like he
huge steps to get him there.
Yeah. So I realized like, oh, he's seeing like him and his father and me right now, how I can't be working for someone.
Yeah.
And that's like a weakness as much as it is a strength.
It's
you
true.
know? You should, sometimes you need to like fall in line and do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think he saw it more as an entrepreneurial opportunity. And he said, my son could be making so much more money doing this.
Yeah.
So he was completely understanding.
Wow. Probably felt so good too.
He was so proud of me when I told, like, I was living with them for the next few months. When I told him I got the manager, I got like these sponsorships, I'll go to my dad and be like, Dad, I just got a sponsorship from like Factor, or Dad, I got a sponsorship from like this energy drink company.
Yeah.
He'd be like, how much are they paying you? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you, but because I don't, my mom always told me like, dude, never tell him how much you make, right? Because like he's gonna, because then he's gonna start like counting like, okay, so you did this and that, right? But like he was so proud. He was like, that's so good. He was like so happy because I was at rock bottom like just a few months.
Yeah, I mean,
prior.
he saw you at your lowest.
Yeah, like he saw me literally like ready, like I'm done, I give up. I was on the verge of giving up. So he was proud of me. He checks in on me. He'll call me. He'll be like, hey, dude, how you doing? How's work? He wants to talk about work all the time because he finds it so interesting. And like when I was like graduating college, I had never thought I could see that man prouder of me than when I graduated with my physics degree. He was telling everyone, because like we're an immigrant family. Not a lot of us graduated college. We don't come from money. So he would tell like, you know, my aunt, my uncle, like his cousins, his like friends. He's like, my son just graduated with a physics degree. He's going to be a scientist. I never thought he'd get prouder than that. He presents this on a higher echelon than that in his mind. Like he'll go to his friends and be like, my son plays video games for a living and he's on the internet and he has like followers. And like, honestly, like the fact that me doing this makes my dad proud is something that I never thought was going to be the case. So, but yeah, so it was out of necessity. Like I had to basically do it to like solve my mental health issues. Lo and behold, I am better than I've ever been. I'm back out on my own. I don't live with my parents anymore, obviously. I was only there for about 6 months, but I'm back in my own place. I have a cat.
There you go.
So
What's
cool.
the cat's name?
Ronnie.
Shout out Ronnie.
Yeah, I love Ronnie. But yeah, no, that's like the basic idea of like, you know, how I became full time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people go through that too, right? I think after college is a really hard time for many people. I think that's one of the things that I'm realizing is that college for many is like the time where, you know, it's like the best time for everyone. And then afterwards, when you get that first job, sometimes it's a little trickier. But the fact that, you know, you had something that you've been working on for so long, and it was able to actually get you out of a life that you didn't like, and it inherently got to let you take care of yourself too. I think that's the best part about what you did, is that you were able to do something that actually helped your mental health, but also was able to like let you exponentially go. Because I remember when me and you were in the car on the way back from Milwaukee one day, and we were talking about it. You were saying, you know, I don't know if I should quit this job, like. And I was telling you, I really do think you should take this chance because you have such a big following, and YouTube is very exponential from what I've seen. And from where you are now, I don't remember exactly how many, you know, subscribers you had at the time, but to be where you are now, you said your daily videos made 2,000 views a video.
Yeah.
Now I look at your videos the other day to see how much you're doing. They're 100,000, 200,000 views per video. So speaking on that, that's an incredible achievement to see where you were and where you now. I think that you're actually better now too. That's what's important.
Yeah. No, and I mean, like, having like done that, like, you know, going out of like leaving college, going to your like new career, that's tough as it is for like, you know, a regular person.
Yeah.
I'm not like a normal person, and that's not like normal is like I'm better. I mean, like I'm literally like not normal. So when I was at my job, I was like always curious, like, why am I never like locked in at my job? I felt guilty. I was like, do I have like ADHD? Do I have some kind of like attention deficit disorder? So I went and I figured it out. I went to like this, what is it called? Like not like a mental health clinic, but like a therapist's office where they'll like test you for like different like mental conditions. And I thought like they're going to tell me I have like ADHD. They're going to give me like Adderall or whatever. And like maybe that'll help me like be able to stay focused at work instead of like wanting to like check on my YouTube analytics
all the time. Yeah.
So I do this over the course of like 6 months. It's like I would go in every 2 weeks, take a different test. They made me take like an IQ test. They made me take like an attention test. They did the full spectrum of things you could possibly have. They check for everything. And I go in with my mom. They said like, hey, bring your mom with you. I'm like, I'm 23. Like, why do I need to bring my mom with me? They're like, we just think she should know too, like the results of the test. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. You know, I just moved out like a few years ago. Like, why not? So this is, you know, before I left my job. So we go in and I go, so do I have ADHD? And he goes, no, you were like the most locked in person I've ever had take that test. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you can only focus on things you want. We did figure out what you have though. And I'm like, oh, what is it? And he goes, dog, you have autism. And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, I didn't think I had autism. And then my mom's just sitting there. She goes, no, that makes sense. That makes sense, dude. Yeah, you like really like Pokemon.
A little too much.
Yeah, you were a little too good at math.
That's funny.
But yeah, so I mean, like, he explained to me like the type of autism that I have is very much it's obsession, like it's obsessions, hyperfixations, I think is the actual word.
Okay.
So like I have hyperfixations with different things. In college, I was really into bodybuilding. I can tell you a lot about how like to hit protein macros and stuff. Like it's all, you know, in there. I know a lot about like muscle hypertrophy because I would watch like videos. I would like learn all of this. I would read about it. I was really into it. Pokemon, really into that growing up. I swear, like, I'd be so much better at everything if I didn't know every single Pokemon's like stats, you know, like if I didn't know everything about that, I would have so much more.
Not a lot of real estate up there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of real estate left. So he explained to me like, that's the thing. Like you are good at focusing on things that you care about. It is torturous for you to like have to focus on something that you could not give like less of a shit about. Right. And that's why at my job, I wasn't happy. Like I had nothing, you know, going on there that I really cared about. It felt like I would clock in, do like the gestures with everyone I saw, like, good morning, Brian. Good morning, Matt. How are you doing? You know,
you don't care. You really don't care at that.
Yeah. Like they're nice people. But like I was isolated in my lab. I didn't even have an office. I had a lab with an office in it and I was the only one in that lab. So I didn't even like talk to people day to day.
So isolating.
Yeah. I was super isolated, which is a big reason.
And you're a social guy. So for you, I'm sure that was tough.
I'm sure you could tell. You know, I haven't stopped speaking since we started. Basically. But yeah. So like after finding out I had autism and he explained this to me, I learned like, I read into it. There's like a phase of like minor depression people have when they get diagnosed with autism as an adult. It's very common where you wonder like, what did I miss out on? Like, should I have had this extra help growing up? Should I have had like more like care and understanding about how I was? Why wasn't I able to fit in with people? Like, you know, you look back and it's all reflective and you get like really bummed out. He said that'll pass. It did. 2 weeks. I was cool. I was like, you know, first few weeks I was like, man, I have autism. Like, what's going on? Like, am I not normal? I was like really confused. And then by like week 3, I was like, yeah, I have autism.
Superpower.
I'm really into Pokemon. I know a lot of like math. You know, it was like it. You know, it's not funny, but it was like, you know, learning about yourself. Like you kind of like laugh in retrospect. Like, yeah, I should have known, right? So when I understood that and what I needed, I was able to adjust things in my life that made it easier for me to function. You see, people who are like neurodivergent, they can function, right? But like it can be uncomfortable for certain things. Me, I found out what I needed. I need to be able to walk wherever I want. I need to have like a space where I'm alone, but I'm not isolated. I can go see my friends. I can walk. I can like go to a coffee shop.
You have your own space, but you're close enough to get what you want socially out of your surroundings without being too difficult.
But on a dime, I need to be able to isolate if I really want to be alone. I also need to be interested in the thing that's making me money and keeping me afloat. Luckily for me, by some miracle, I have this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Right?
Not just some YouTube channel. It's a pretty damn good one.
So luckily for me, you know, I have the YouTube channel. I have the means of getting to an apartment where I have like this environment. And I like learned that, you know, after doing all that, I became much more successful. I enjoy what I do. I'm a happier person. Like I am absolutely cheesing day to day, just,
Nice.
you know, grinning some days, you know. And it helped me like learn that you can't really succeed before you put yourself in a position that is best for you personally to succeed. Like it's like I was a square thing trying to fit into like a circular hole.
Yeah.
And that's never going to work where, you know, you move me to the square hole, all of a sudden like everything feels right. I can do whatever I need to. I'm able to work at my best potential. So like I don't know if you're someone who's like I need these particular things in order. I need things to be this way. You know, get your house set up how you need it to be set up.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid if you're a little weird to like adjust the way you live to make life happier for you so you can do what you need to do beyond that. I wasn't able to like have a career until I was happy with what that career was and my life around it. You know, I couldn't do the clock in, clock out thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like most people can't. Like, I think that most people have needs beyond that, and they find like that extra something to keep them going, whether it be like a Pilates class at like, you know, 5 p.m. after work, or like a coffee shop, or even like karaoke on a Thursday night with like people in a bar in their town. Whatever it is that you need to like keep yourself happy so you can operate at your highest potential to, you know, make money and have a successful life is honestly more important in some aspects than making the money itself. You know,
It's true, and I think that's why a lot of people have that like third place. Everyone says it's like a third place, right? Because
Yeah.
typically you're working somewhere, you're living somewhere, and then there's that third place where you go to, whether it's the gym, whether it's, you know, the pickleball courts, whether it's your YouTube studio, whether it's, you know, church. Everyone has that third place, and when people don't have that third place or they can't go there, that's when a lot of the difficulties start to have. Because at work, a lot of people, I think, for some people, you know, like you, some like I even like myself, you have to be passionate about what you're doing, but not everyone is wired that way. Some people can, you know, do it for a means to an end. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
But then they still need that place to themselves where they feel like they are living life for themselves a little bit. And that's where that third place comes into. And your third place, it sounds like it was YouTube. That's like where a lot of it came from. And because you had that to be able to actually turn that third place into your work. So that way now that third place opened back up for you, because that wasn't making you happy as that current third place. And then you can spend more time actually doing what you love, which is hanging out with your friends, going out to where you want to be, but also having that like good mental clarity in your free time. So now I kind of want to, you know, shift gears and really understand, because how does someone like, I'm sure someone watches this right now. You have a lot of people who, you know, who are following you and seeing what you're doing. That you're probably very inspiring figure to a lot of people, right? After hearing what you're going through. And some people might say, you know, I don't have this YouTube thing to fall back on, and I have to work this physics job to go and live my life that I have to live. And that can be hard for it crushes a lot of people, right? Mentally, their dreams, it's tough. So one thing I'm curious for you is, how does someone go ahead and actually build, like, let's say some 18-year-old kid is watching this video. So a lot of our demographic is 18 to 24. I always say too, it's never too late to start your dream, right? To go chase for what you want. Even like your dad, for example. My dad too. My dad's an entrepreneur, immigrant, very similar. He started doing what he does now to, you know, take care of our family. He started around 30 years old. Like actually much like 35, 36, 37. So it's never really too late. So going back to this YouTube idea of it never being too late is, how does someone actually, like, you're a YouTube expert at this point, I would say, right? Would you call yourself that?
By accident, yeah.
By accident.
You learn it by accident.
So how does someone become that when they want to just get started out? Because I think a lot of people want to figure out how to be an entrepreneur. And I'm not asking you how to be an entrepreneur in everything, because that's obviously, you don't know how to do it in every space. But in the YouTube space, you are. So for someone who's kind of clocking in today to see, how do I become the next Moxie Boosted? How does someone go and do that?
So that's like a really interesting question, because like you end up getting into the a question that I think about a lot, like what's more important, means or drive? You know, when I say means, like, if you had the option to be able to do whatever you wanted because you have all the money in the world, but you don't have the drive to actually do it, is that better than if you had the drive to do whatever you wanted, but you genuinely do not have the means? You're eating like ramen day to day, you're having like Little Caesars and water for dinner, you know? Like, that's a big thing. And I think that like it's something that doesn't get brought up in the conversation a lot, about like becoming like an entrepreneur, or like being successful on your own, like trying to escape the 9 to 5
Being a full-time
cycle.
YouTuber.
Yeah, it doesn't get brought up enough. So I'm genuinely of the opinion that like, I think that means are a little bit more important than drive. But if you have, obviously it's not one or the other, you have
Yeah, of
both,
course.
right? So, you know, you look at like certain people, like, you know, billionaire dudes who have like all the money in the world, it almost becomes impossible to fail at a certain point. You have so much money that the money makes itself. Now, obviously, not everyone can do that. You know, we're working our 9 to 5. For me, what I had to do was find out when to take a risk and how many safety nets I needed to build. So obviously,
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, I was telling you in the car, obviously you were saying like, you weren't sure if you wanted to do the YouTube channel. Because I was like, I need to save my money. I need to make sure I have like this in order. I need to make sure I am able to, if everything goes wrong, I have like a nest egg to, you know, if I need to give up.
Worst case, I have something to fall back on.
Yeah, if I need like if I have like, you know, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, I can pay off whatever I need to for a little while I find a new job, right? So I think the biggest thing is that people need to build safety nets. You know, you want to tell people, go out and live your dream, go out and like risk it all, but like, you know, that's not going to work for everybody. Like for me, I needed to stay at my job until I was comfortable with my YouTube, until my YouTube channel was at the point that it was, so that I could start doing more with it. I was at my job and I was living off my YouTube during college. When I got to my job, all that YouTube money suddenly became free. I was working. I had like my paycheck every 2 weeks. That was like my rent, my groceries, everything. YouTube money, all of a sudden, that's
Extra.
gravy. Why would I have it remain gravy when I could start reinvesting it in myself? So like, let's say YouTube paid me $2,000. Before, what I would do is that $2,000 was rent, money, food. No, I already have like the $2,000 from my job. So now I go, I can upgrade my thumbnails. I don't need to learn how to do everything myself. Paid for a thumbnail guy, my friend Atrix.
Shout out MJ.
Yeah, I love MJ. Ostra MJ, we love you. Shout out them. They do great thumbnails.
If you guys want thumbnails, what's his handle?
Ostra MJ.
There
So
you go.
ASURA MJ. Yeah.
Cool.
So paid for them to do my thumbnails. All of a sudden, my videos get more views. Like, it's marginal, but it's noticeable because now it's not like me who has like 18 hours of Photoshop experience. It's a person with a art degree who knows how to use like, you know, Photoshop doing it.
Yeah.
And it's because I had those like $80, $100 free for the thumbnails. And then I go, well, I'm not the best editor either. I've been editing everything myself. Now I have the money to pay for editors. So then that money that was freed up because I had a job now was going towards paying for editors. And of course, I still need to be part of my YouTube channel. I'm never going to pay for a script, so I am the one writing everything.
Yeah.
It has to
It's
be
you.
me.
The brand is you.
Yeah. Otherwise, like, it's not my YouTube channel. You know, like imagine like there's a channel called like Game Theory. The dude who like runs the channel, Matt Pat, he retired recently.
I know he's very familiar. I know. I heard about
like
that. Yeah.
towards the end, like he wasn't writing anything. He was like doing the narration and he was the face, and that was, you know, basically it, which is fine. You know,
Everyone wants different things. Yeah.
Different strokes for different folks. For me, I could never let go of the creative process, or I'd just be like, it stops being entertaining for me.
Yeah.
I stopped liking my work. So I would write, and now all I do is I have a really fun idea.
What's the process from idea to now high production quality video? What is that process?
So first thing I do is, because me and MJ are really good friends, we'll actually sit down together and we'll brainstorm what video I should make. I have ideas. MJ will go like, I don't know if I can make a thumbnail that looks good for that. I don't know if I like, but that one, I have a great idea, right? And we'll like sit down. We call it Lock-In Tuesday. Every Tuesday, we'll sit down at my apartment. We'll just like chat. We'll look at like ideas for videos. He'll work on some thumbnails at my apartment, and then I'll say like, what if we do this? What if I did a video ranking like all the best champions from Pokemon games and how they would do in like an official tournament? And he goes, yeah, but what would the thumbnail be? How do we make that? Because like that's an idea where casual and competitive players would be interested. Casual because like, oh, it's the champions of the games. Competitive, like, oh, who would really like do well in the tournament, right? So now you have like a wider net. Me and him come up with that idea together. Two brains better than one. But he goes, what should the thumbnail be? And we like start looking. We like to take inspiration from like anime and manga for thumbnails because we know our audience. We're a bunch of nerds, you know? So, you know, I forget if it was me or him who thought of it, but we were looking for a manga panel that would work well because one of the best champions in the videos is like this like 12-year-old kid. He's like this tall. And then one of them was like Cynthia, grown woman, like this tall. And I go, I think it was either me and him, but I was like, what if we do like that panel from Dragon Ball Z where Frieza's looking up at Goku and they're like staring each other down? And, you know, he drew that up with the two characters instead, made it very clear that it's like an allusion to Dragon Ball Z. That thumbnail made the video pop off. Like that video has like almost 250,000 views, I think.
Wow.
It did really good. Like that video popped absolutely off because we were able to sit down and come up with that idea. Now, beyond that, I wrote the script. I do all the writing myself. Sometimes I'll read off like a gag or two to like MJ or my friends. I'd be like, hey, how's this? Does this sound funny?
How does it sound?
Yeah. most of my videos are informative, but like my personality comes through and like really
There's some jokes in there.
really dry humor, like
Yeah.
just goofs. And then once that script's done, I hand it off to my editor, who has a week to turn like this 15 to 20 minute script of, audio that I recorded into a full-blown video. I'll leave like little notes like, hey, if you could throw this, in the video, or if you could do this and that, please do that.
Yeah, how involved are you in that process? So let's say you have an editor. How much information are you giving to them to say, I want you to create this? Or are you kind of more, hey, this is my idea. Here are a couple things. What is that process like?
I'm pretty hands-off.
Okay.
If they want direction, I'll give direction. But the editors, like, their tags are Local, Dingus, and Mercury.
Put it right here.
Yeah. But they definitely enjoy their job of editing. They really like the editing process because they like going in the comments and be like, they enjoyed that little gag I threw in there. So I'm hands off for the most part.
Wow.
I'll have bullet points and be like, I want it to like be paced like this. I want to like throw this gag in there, this gag in there. But beyond that, make it your own.
Yeah.
And they like that. It's a creative expression for them as much as it is me. So it's like, it's a team effort now. But being able to hand off the parts of the video that I'm not good at doing, I'm not great at editing, I'm not great at art, being able to hand those off to people while I work on the part that I'm good at, which is writing, having a silky voice, right? That's
You're gonna sound good on these mics, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear how I sound.
Yeah,
but being able to like just focus on what I can do and do that better has made it such a better process. So it's about a week turnaround for a video.
Okay.
Come up with the video idea, write it, get the thumbnail done and the editing done at the same time. It all comes together either a day before it has to drop or the day of the video dropping, depending on how rushed we are.
Yeah.
Put it out there, insert the ads, put the tags, and ship it. And then for about 3 hours, I just obsessively just refresh my phone. Like,
see all the views.
Is it doing good? Is it doing good?
Yeah.
Is it over? Do I need to get a job?
No, that's insane. I think speaking on that process is very interesting because I think a lot of people, even myself included, because I just started posting on YouTube and all that stuff, right? It's people think that you have to get all these tools, you have to buy all these, PDFs and courses and coaches to make it do well. So for you, it sounds like, how much money are you investing dollar-wise? You said you have that $2,000 net, right, to spend on these things to reinvest in. So how much money are you actually spending on editors, thumbnails, and how much of a difference does that actually make that you have seen from before and after to creating a successful product?
You get what you pay for. That's something that's always been true in like YouTube. One of the first lessons I learned back when I was like a smaller YouTuber was that, because there was a dude who had like, he wanted a thumbnail, and we were in like a Discord together, and he got the thumbnail. It was a $5 thumbnail and it looked like absolute trash. And people were always, because he went to the guy, he's like, I want a refund. I want my $5 back. This is BS. And then everyone in like the Discord was clowning, like, dude, you paid for a $5 thumbnail.
What are you expecting?
Yeah, like, dude, if your thumbnail costs like less than an order at Subway, like you're not gonna get something better than an order at Subway. At that point, go get Subway, go get the cookie,
Yeah.
So I learned that. The more I throw at YouTube, the better the video will come out being. But obviously, there's like a point of diminishing returns.
Yeah. What point is that? What point do you think that is? Like, how much do you think someone should invest in something like this if they can?
It should all be proportional. I mean, like if you don't care, if you're not trying to make a career out of YouTube and it's a hobby, right? In my opinion, nothing, unless it's a passion project and you just want to throw money at it.
Yeah.
Throw money at it the same way you would throw money at like building a train set, right? It's not a waste because it's for you and you enjoy it. But if you're trying to like make money on YouTube, obviously you need to make sure that you're throwing the right amount. If your video is making $1,000, in my opinion, you shouldn't be spending more than like $300 or $400, because you want to pocket the majority of that and be able to, $300 goes to like everything you need to make the video. You have the $700 left over if you made like $1,000. You need to take some of that $700 and put it towards like, this will pay like my rent, this will pay this and that, and then the rest of it should be saving to further upgrade your videos in the future. Let's say at some point you go, yeah, like these thumbnails are great, I want to pay for better ones though, because it seems like the better the thumbnail, the better it comes out, or maybe the editor, or maybe like I want to start licensing music. You need to like save to experiment, where it's like, I now have this, I now have like $3,000.
Yeah.
Time to upgrade that PC so I can edit these videos faster, that sort of thing. But yeah, it should always be proportional, It should be slow. So like in a game, how like You know how like when you like level up in a game, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, you know, at level 5, your next level up's like, you know, 25 XP points. But then you like get like really, really far up there. You're like at level 70. It's like now it takes like 3,000, 4,000,
Yeah.
8,000. That's sort of what it's like with YouTube, where it's
Interesting.
like
Okay.
it becomes harder and harder to progress in YouTube in quality the better you get. Like if you were to give Mr. Beast $7,000 more to make the same video he was going to make for 10,000, is that really going to make a difference? Not really.
Yeah.
It's going to come out looking about the same. But if you were to give him like $1 million to make a $10,000 video, it's going to come out so much better because he's already at like that upper echelon.
Of course.
Me, I am very much a frugal guy.
Yeah.
You know, you have more equipment than I do, frankly, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If I were to invest in this equipment to make my videos, I wouldn't get that much more out of it than I would what I'm using, which is an Elgato microphone, webcam, my laptop. I'm hitting the bare minimums here. But if I had, you know, a bunch more money to pay for editors and that sort of thing, the video would turn out better. It's just at some point it stops mattering.
The worth, the worth. So then, does someone who wants to start off, do you think that? I think like I'm trying to think about how I want to think about this, because for you, then what made it work for you? Do you think what grew you and your audience? Because if you didn't have any of this equipment, did you treat it as? Because it sounded like you didn't treat it as like you want this to be your career. It sounded like it started off as this hobby, this train set idea.
Yeah, it was the train
and then
set.
it turned into this. So is that how people should have? Like, yeah, I'd love to hear about that. How did it turn from a train set hobby to a career hobby, and how did you actually grow your audience by doing it in that way? Do you think you were lucky, or do you think it was skill? Talk more about that. I'm genuinely curious.
YouTube is a lot more luck than people give it, than they understand it to be. Someone can make the best content ever and just like never really take off. But there is like a factor where you can control it, right? If you are here's a good example, right? If I were to start a second channel, I have a second channel, but like if I were to start like a third channel that is completely separated from what I do, and I say, this is my third channel where I talk about food reviews and I travel around the country and I go, here's the deep dish pizza that went viral in Dubai or whatever, you know, you know, that's, you know, those sort of things, right? So if I were to do that, I don't know if I could replicate the success I have now.
Interesting.
That's a completely different environment. But if I'm able to siphon viewers from like my current channel, like let's say if it wasn't isolated, let's say I go, here's my channel, and I have like this like pool of like viewers and an audience that can move over to watch my new stuff. That's big, right? So
what made Moxie Boosted big though? What do you think made you big? Again, I'm trying to figure out what changed you from train set to career.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think most people who are at home, I'm sure there are people, you know, all the time we go on these limitless tournaments and we see people streaming and they create all this content for Pokemon and all these things. And they're probably still in that small market space, but they want to, again, you're the third largest Pokemon creator in the entire world, right? I believe.
Third largest competitive, like in my space, right? So it goes, as far as VGC goes, it goes Wolfie, Aaron, me.
And what are their subscriber count? What's the subscriber counts?
It's hilarious. It's hilarious because here's the thing. Wolfie's so large. I think he has like 2 million subscribers, right?
Okay.
If you ask someone, do you know what VGC is? They'll say no. But if you ask like, do you know what Wolfie is? There's a chance they'll say yes, even though they don't know what VGC is, even though Wolfie is a VGC champion and that's what got him there.
Yes.
If you ask someone what VGC is and they say yes, and you ask them who Aaron Zhang is, they'll say yes. Like they're like synonymous. They're at the same size. If you ask someone if they know what VGC is and they say yes, and you ask them if they know what Moxie Boosted is, they might say no because I'm not at that point of ubiquity with my field.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. Wolfie, 2 million. Aaron, 115,000. Or not 100, 215,000. Me, 180,000. I'm on my way to passing Aaron and becoming second. But like, I don't know. Like it's just it's a huge gap. Like it is hilarious how big the gap is. I genuinely don't think I'll ever be able to pass Wolfie in subscribers. I will be number 2 probably until I die, which I'm okay with. I've come to terms with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like taking it from train set to like career.
Yeah,
it's a lot about intention. Like if your intention is to make it a career, you should go into it with a plan. You have that whiteboard there. You have a plan. Like
you see that? There's a lot of writing on there.
Yeah, obviously a plan isn't everything. You also need luck. It's a lot like starting a business. You know, you can put it in the right place. You can put it in like the right time. Like let's say that someone started a Korean corn dog like a Korean corn dog stand in Chicago in 1999 not taking off, right? You
Yeah.
start a Korean corn dog stand in Chicago in 2021, TikTok's everywhere. You got a bunch of people
Different
going like,
story.
look at this like flaming hot Cheeto corn dog. Instant success. You know, it's about timing and intention, but also there's a bit of luck to it. Let's say that that Korean corn dog stand didn't start in like 2020. It started, or not 2024. Let's say it started in like 2018. They're doing great. COVID, business gone. Same sort of deal for YouTube, right? There could be like a big thing like the that big like advertiser purge where advertisers left
I
the
remember
platform.
that.
Yeah. If you were starting a YouTube channel in that era and it wasn't a train set, it was I want to make a career. Good luck. You're not making any money right now. That's a big thing. There are factors outside your control, whether it be the algorithm, which they change how that works like day to day. It's crazy. Whether it be having one video pop off or having no videos ever pop off, there's a lot out of your control, but it's about staying consistent until you finally like have like that one dart that hits the bullseye. And then as soon as you have that dart that hits the bullseye, as soon as you have your foot in the door, you got to like
Nurture
take
that
your
fire.
not even nurture that fire. It is not that gentle.
What is it?
You got to like, let's say that you get a foot in the door. You do not go, I think I'm going to probably enter. You got to rip it open. You got to go, nope. How
do you do that? How do you do that?
For me, it was literally as soon as I had that one video, I remember I made like a Mimikyu video talking about a nerf that a Pokemon got like between one game and another, and that video got like 40,000 views.
What were you used to before that?
I was getting like 2,000, 3,000,
Okay,
right? So there was a video that had 40,000 views. If I got a 40,000 view video today, I'd be depressed. But it's because when that happened, I said, okay, all this money, editor. I have 40,000 people whose eyes were just on my channel, who left a like in the video, who left a comment. Now my channel is more likely to be recommended to those 40,000 people. If those 40,000 people see a second video on my channel and it isn't to the same quality as that one, and they watch it for 2 seconds and click off, that like ember is not going to turn into a fire. But I have the money to buy gasoline to pour on that ember and make it a fire. So that's what you have to do. Like, let's say that one of your TikToks pops off and it gets like 1 million views, right?
Yeah.
2 million, 3 million. Let's say you have like one of those. Literally, what you need to do at that point, full steam ahead, drop everything, do your best to make that into like a bonfire. That is literally how YouTube works. Because and you're hoping for the ember. You can't guarantee the ember, but it's gonna happen at some point if you keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by bonfire, do you mean creating the same kind of content? Do you mean buying ads? Is there
I'm saying you take what you did right in that video
and do it again?
You do it again, but now you do it with more, so they come back. They need to come back.
Okay. Yeah, that's really fascinating. I think so. Then it makes you wonder. So if you're starting again from zero, are you doing the same thing that you did before, or are you doing it differently?
If I were to start again from zero,
you have nothing. Your channel gets deleted for whatever some way.
No money,
deleted, nothing. Let's say you still work a job. Maybe you're working a job. Maybe you're in college. You're starting from zero. Knowing what you know now, what are you doing?
First thing I would do is I would look at what other people are doing, and I would try to find a niche. I think YouTube's a lot about niches. So let's say that I want to make a video about like, I don't know, let's go with like building D&D models, right?
Okay.
So like, let's say like you have a little model for like a D&D character, and like people will talk about like, here's how you paint the model. Here's like a collection of models. Here's like a fun custom model I made. You have to think like one step ahead. Like, what is something that someone who is into these D&D models would want to know about that there isn't anything out there for? For me, I would go like, if I'm familiar with the history of like Dungeons and Dragons, I'd be like, here's this model. Here's the history of it. Here's like the production company that made it. Did you know this production company was like founded because like the original company sold like dice and that burned down in a big fire? And like you tell a story and you like take it a step further. You find a niche in a space that is probably already oversaturated. If you can like carve that niche and be that person, it will grow. There's another YouTuber who is growing right now in the VGC space or in the general Pokemon space called Electric Wind Girlfriend. And she makes videos that are literally just PowerPoints. It is a PowerPoint about a specific Pokemon, but it's so iconic in its simplicity that, you know, I'm out here making like video essays, editing it. Wolfie's doing like the same thing. Aaron's doing like his battles and stuff. Everyone's doing battles. If Electric Wind Girlfriend sat down and said, hey guys, today we're going to use this team and like, you know, battle, no subscribers. But because she sits down and goes, I'm gonna make the funniest PowerPoint ever about like Clodsire or some random Pokemon. Like here's a PowerPoint about Pikachu, and it's literally just titled a PowerPoint about Pikachu in the thumbnail.
That's
In the thumbnail's white background, Comic Sans, a PowerPoint about, and then that Pokemon. It's such a noticeable, funny, like little niche that
Yeah.
it's almost impossible for people not to want to click on that. And then they come back like, oh, I want to watch more of the stupid PowerPoint videos. You know, like I want these are funny. You know, like it's about carving niches, whether it be in the way that you present it or even the topic that you're talking about. You know, there are different ways to do it.
And then you kept talking about in the beginning about also this is amazing. The reason why I think this is super valuable, again, I think we talked about it in the car, is that a lot of people who are at home, the whole idea is to bring on people who are successful and do something that they can actually pass down to other people who are there, who they're either inspiring themselves or are looking for something, a solution to getting to where they want to be. And that brings me back to you talking about editing and thumbnails. How important is that packaging compared to the actual content? What's the value there? And do you think that, again, if someone wants to be a YouTuber, what should they actually be focusing on in a priority system? Like, how should they prioritize their, like, all the components that have to get done in order for them to give themselves the highest chance of landing that dart on the bullseye? What does that priority system look like, do you think?
Priority is the content has to be good first.
Okay.
Honestly, at some point, it can stop being good. This is true. You can stop caring at some point, and that's really bad, and that's how you get people going.
That's
like,
the truth.
I miss the old
YouTube,
this and that. Yeah.
yeah.
So if you have nothing but like Walmart microphone, Walmart like webcam, and you know your browser, and you're playing a game and you're recording yourself playing that game, you're gonna like have people come there, even though like it's gonna take a while. Like you're gonna get like your first 50 subscribers like over the course of a year, right? People will come there and keep coming back for the content because it's good. It's like that, like, you know, that like joke where it's like the dirtiest looking restaurants always have the best food.
Yeah.
It's like that on YouTube.
Okay.
You will find like those content creators where like they don't have thumbnails, they don't have good mics, but they are so good and funny, and like you want to watch their stuff. That support eventually will lead to them having the means to package it better. So imagine you're that dirty restaurant and you sell the best tacos in Chicago, right? They look nasty, or they don't look nasty, but like the outside of the restaurant looks nasty, but like you get in there and those are the best tacos ever.
Yeah.
People are going to come back and they'll be like, no, trust me. These are good, right? And then you have that money. Now it's like, okay, well, maybe we can stop serving people out like these Walmart cups. Maybe we can get like these custom cups with like, you know, the branding of like the restaurant on there. Pretty soon you have like the cups, you have like the wrappers, you change the sign, you're able to clean up the restaurant.
Yeah.
That's a lot like how YouTube is. If you have good content, people will watch it. But at some point, you're not going to be able to grow in the same way unless you start investing in yourself and going, this money that I made through my content, I'm going to make it so the content's better.
Okay.
Now, when I say that it can stop being good, that's when you hit like McDonald's, right? Watch Mojo is like the McDonald's of YouTube. You know, I don't know if they ever had good content, but like they would make like these top 10 lists if you remember them, like back in the day.
Yeah, I remember top 10. Yeah, everything.
Yeah, so like they make these top 10 videos. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure it's AI writing that stuff. They still get millions of views because it's impossible to fail at how large of a channel they are. But like they grew to the point where they have the thumbnails, they have the editing. All of a sudden, the content falls to the wayside. It's now just a content mill.
Yeah.
Obviously, you probably want to avoid being a content mill unless you want to just do that and have like a money farm. But like, if you're like me and you really care about what you put out there, yeah, focus on the content. Once the content's good, invest in thumbnails, invest in editing, make it real, like nice, and the growth accelerates.
Okay, so for a day zero person, number one you would say is quality of content.
Yeah.
What would you say is number two?
So it goes quality of content. And that quality has to do with like what's being said or like how novel it is, right?
Okay.
Next is quality of content again, but it's like in production value, where it's like now you have nice microphones.
Okay, production
value
is number two.
Yeah, production value is number two. Then it's packaging, where now it's like the thumbnail. Like
Yeah,
make sure
I think packaging can get misconstrued. What's included in that? Is that
I would say literally just like thumbnail title, like optimizing your thumbnails and titles is number three.
So not description.
Description, honestly, like I hardly touch my description.
Wow,
my description is literally just like, let's say like the champions video. I'm pretty sure the one that got like 250,000 views. My description is like, some champions suck, and that was it. That was that was it. Like you can do stuff to optimize that. I don't care enough to optimize it. I probably should.
Yeah, but it's not on the high on the priority list.
Yeah, everything else matters so much more than your description that like it almost feels like you're like getting a little too like nitpicky. You know, you don't want to like. I know some dudes who are like at 500 subscribers and they're like, I'm trying to optimize my tags, I'm trying to optimize my description, I'm making sure like I got this down to a science, dude. I'm like, if that's true, why do you have 500 subscribers? You know, focus on making good videos first, because they don't focus on making good videos. You know, so
videos is first.
Yeah, so literally the content, the production quality, the packaging, and then everything else is gravy. At some point when you have like all three, you have like that burger, you got them, you got like the
patty, the cheese, and the burger. You have the three.
You're not quite McDonald's. You're like Five Guys. You still got a real nice burger. You look nice. People walk in there, still a little dirty looking, but it's not McDonald's. You know.
Yeah.
You want to be the Five Guys.
Yeah. So then that makes me wonder too, right? I think a big part of entrepreneurship and maybe YouTubing is marketing. So one thing that I think many people are curious about is how important is marketing? How important is, so let's say you have YouTube and all of that, everything on YouTube, let's ignore that, right? You're posting videos on YouTube, ignore that.
Yeah.
Do you use social media? Do you use paid advertising? Do you use community posting? Do you how important is the marketing element to growing? Or do you feel like that's not, like, what's your relationship with that?
I'd say that's number 4.
Okay.
There were 3. That's number 4 to me. There are some people, like, genuinely, I think people need to get their priorities straight with YouTube. You see these dudes who will put out ads for their videos on, like, Twitter. Like, you know, like, I'm sure you've been on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the ads for that Solar Heavy guy? He's like an EDM dude. He goes, listen to my music. He like puts out an ads like Solar Heavy music.
And it's like sponsored.
Yeah, it's like a sponsored ad, and you go like, yeah, this is mid. Like, I understand why you're like desperate and you're like on Twitter trying to get all these like views on it. It's not good. I think that a lot of people like put way too much weight on marketing themselves when like the content's not there yet. Because what's the point of marketing yourself if it's not going to be good? You're not going to get anyone to come back. You have like one person walk in and they see it like, oh, wow, you know, they come and try the taco. Wow, this taco's trash. They leave. Did you get a customer? Yes, because you pay for that billboard on the side of the street, right? But they're not coming back. Your goal is to make them stay and come back and want to be like part of this ecosystem and like your subscriber base. So I am very, very bad at that 4th thing. And I'm glad that if there is anything that I am bad at, it is that 4th thing.
Interesting.
Because it's, in my opinion, not the most important one. Some people might disagree. Some people might say it's all about that.
Yeah.
Honestly, like people tackle YouTube in different ways as long as, you know, it works.
It works.
Yeah. But for me, my Instagram, dead in the water. I can't be bothered to upload there. My TikTok, not dead. It's
you should, man.
Yeah, I know. I should.
You're too big to not be posting on.
I know. I need to be doing it because it will help me grow a lot. But despite me not doing it, still doing great.
So yeah, it still works.
Yeah. So
fascinating.
Yeah, but if there's one thing that you can let go, if the goal is to grow YouTube, then do YouTube. Yeah, like
it's that simple.
I'm big on Twitter, not because of my YouTube. Genuinely, my subscriber base on Twitter, like my followers, a lot of them don't know I'm a YouTuber, and that's really funny.
Well, you have 22,000 followers on there.
Yeah, most of them know I'm a YouTuber. A lot of them have no clue.
Wow.
Because I just post.
Yeah.
Like I am just
a lot of memes.
I'm a power user for Twitter. I am a Twitter power user. Yeah, I just have like a lot of gags, and because of that, once in a while when I like have a video that I want to pop off, I'll see that I have like a viral tweet, and then I'll just be like, oh hey, by the way, there's a new video, and then like the video will get like an extra couple thousand views. Yeah, but it's not that big because those, 500 to 2,000 views that come from Twitter, that's like a drop in the water compared to like the 100,000 that came from YouTube in the environment I built there. You know, it's gravy.
Yeah, it's gravy. And that's, speaking of gravy, right? It's like one thing I noticed is that, so now it's not your gravy anymore. YouTube is not your gravy. Now your YouTube is your potatoes, your burger. Now that's what it is.
Yeah.
So do you have a gravy now, or is it you're all in? You burn the boats, like you're fully focused on this. And how has that changed your relationship now with your career, with spending, with investing, all of these things? It used to be I have my money from my job. Now the rest of my money from YouTube is going to making better product and taking care of myself. Now this is your full-time job. Has it gotten better? Do you make more money now than you did when you had both jobs? Do you feel like it's less money but more happiness but more investing? What's the whole ecosystem looking like for you now?
Yeah, so before I made like a really solid amount of money with both, but I wasn't happy, obviously.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I make more than I did when I had both now, but it's
Okay,
a lot
wow.
less safe because month to month, you don't know how things are going to go with advertisers. It's a lot more risky and it can be a lot more stressful, but it's so fulfilling. I don't have a gravy right now. I need a gravy.
What are you
Um,
thinking about being your gravy?
I mean, like I was considering like, I don't know. I genuinely thought that it'd be like kind of cool if I could like try to open like a restaurant or like some like little, small
Pop-up shop
business.
somewhere?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pop-up shop because like I have like the freedom and the time to do it. Sorry, my throat's getting dry from
No,
talking
so
so
we
much.
so we got the drinks right here.
Yeah.
No, but I really do think your drop, like, I mean, in my opinion, this is like a master class for someone who again, I don't think you haven't had an experience of giving this kind of advice to anyone, and I really do think a large part of your community, especially, and I think young people nowadays is seeing, we live in a social media world. Everyone now wants to be a creator. I think in some part of them, right? Even if it's like nice see couples, there's so many couple accounts where they're just
Yeah.
posting them doing challenges and things
Here's our
like that.
here's our van life vlog.
Yeah, and those will get millions of views, and people are like, wow, they can make a career out of it, so why can't I?
Yeah.
And you've done it the long and hard way before. There was no TikTok when you started. There was no Instagram Reels when you started, no YouTube Shorts. You posted one video on YouTube, long form, made it yourself, edited thumbnail, and again, you made it your life. And I think that's a very interesting thing that if you can do it the hard way, I'm sure now people, when things are a lot easier now, maybe they're easier, maybe they're not. I'm curious what you think, but they can do it. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, no, I think that like I wouldn't say it's easier to do it now. I mean, it's a lot more oversaturated, but you do have a lot more tools. I think that it's probably about the same difficulty, to be honest, because before, less competitive, less tools, but now it's extremely competitive, but there are so many more tools.
Yeah, I see like ads all the time for like vidIQ. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I don't use it.
Yeah, what's your opinion on it? Because I've been looking at it to get it myself, but I'm like, it looks expensive, but it looks like it's helpful. Like, how do you feel about tools like that?
I think that it's a tool that's helpful for someone that is not me.
Okay.
Like I said, like if there's the one thing I'm bad at with YouTube, it's the supplemental stuff, the optimizing my tags, this and that. And I've been offered help from people like, I don't know if he wants me to like drop his name, but like a Pokemon player who works with other YouTubers and like is an expert in this sort of thing. He's reached out and he said like, I can help you optimize your tags. Here's the video that I helped this guy make. He has like, it's got like 1 million views.
Wow.
I work with these different people. And I'm like, that's great. Right now, YouTube is all the money I make, besides like ads and Twitch and stuff. I don't think I have like, I don't want to take that risk of bringing you on for like a 6-month contract to do this for me because I have no idea just how big of a jump it's going to be. Yeah, like I want to make sure that like if I can put away that money to take this risk with you, I will, because obviously you're good at what you do. I look at your, portfolio and it's all success. So I believe you. But for me, I'm very much comfortable grinding away at like this, this like piece of marble and, pushing the rock up the hill. I'm cool doing that until I have the financial means to bring on someone like that to push me to a higher level. And that's what I mean, like what I said earlier, how it's like, when you're leveling up.
Like
Yeah. Now I'm at that point where it's like I need to like work a lot harder
to get to the next
to the next step. And that next step would be I have a guy who does like the optimization on the tags and like
social
marketing
media,
and
all
social
that
media.
stuff.
I should do that. That is guaranteed my very next step.
Your next step.
I'm just not there yet.
Okay. Yeah, so I was going to ask you what your next step was. And that's what makes me curious, that to confirm, you're 25, I believe, right? You're 25?
Yeah, I turned 25 a month ago.
Yeah, hey, we birthdays in the same week, July 3rd and July 7th.
Yeah.
So I guess, one thing I was also curious about is now that you're really living this life, because we do here at Growth Street, is it's not about helping people get jobs or helping people be entrepreneurs, but it's helping people get to where they want to be in life and get to what they want to do. So the thing I'm really curious about for you is, do you recommend this path of entrepreneurship? What's been your overall, what's your feeling right now towards this lifestyle you've chosen? Do you think, again, I guess the question I want to ask you, I'm going to kind of reframe this, is there's 2 main parts of this, right? You talked about risk versus safety net. You're not be able to have a safety net, like for you was that job, but if you didn't take the risk to even start this channel, then you don't have the ability to take that risk and have it that wouldn't be your safety net.
Yeah.
So do you think what the chicken versus the egg, what comes first? What comes first, the risk or the safety net for you?
For me, it's always the safety net.
Okay.
That's the reason, I kept the job and like reinvested before I did YouTube. That's the reason I'm not currently taking on like the guy who optimizes my tags and everything. I need that safety net before I can feel comfortable to take the risk. And while that does result in slower growth, it results in what I at least feel has been one of the safest transitions from being a 9 to 5 to a full-time YouTuber that I've probably seen. Some people, they're like, I'm broke. And then like they just happen to make it. Like I'm pretty sure Markiplier was like, unhoused for a while.
Wow.
And then like his YouTube channel took off, right?
Yep.
And then he was like,
he's
good.
one of the biggest ones in the world right now.
Yeah. I don't want to do that. I'd prefer to have my house, right?
Yeah.
I'd prefer to not have to like worry about that hardship. I'm very much risk averse, but when I do take a risk, it is like, I know it is a risk because it's inherently going to be a risk. There's never a 100% thing, but I'm very much like a 90% guy. I can't do like 80 or 70 or 60.
Yeah. Okay. No, definitely. And again, like, I'm just, for me, this is just, I'm talking to my friend, but it's like learning so much on the spot. I think everyone at home watching too is like learning so many things. I think the big thing that I really want to provide value is being like the authentic, real advice. So asking me, be able to ask you right now is, do you have, like, how organized are you with tracking all of this stuff? Like agents, managers, this tag stuff, like, is this like a science lab? Like, do you have Excel sheets for everything tracking it? Or is it more of one of those things where it's kind of just figuring it out as you go because you can kind of mentally ballpark it? Because I think the science is not knowing the soft advice on what you should do, but it's actually the systems that make people successful. So do you have, or do you disagree with that? I'm curious what your perspective is on systems, organization, like creating this thing for yourself to where it can work and become, again, what you created it to be.
I think organization is important for success, and I'm lucky in that I'm just inherently kind of organized, but I'm also not the most organized person. I have a calendar. It tells me when I get up, when I work out, when I do all this and that. Don't follow it at all. But because it's on the calendar, it'll get done today.
Okay.
Like my calendar says, Marcos, at 6 a.m. you have to go downstairs and lift weights. I'll get it done later. But it gets done because that calendar's looking over me. For me, I'm very much like I have a checklist. It doesn't matter when it gets done as long as it is done.
Okay.
And I have to have that pressure to do it. But I can guarantee you if I did it when I say I'm going to do it on that calendar, I'd be much more successful. I am very much a vibes guy when it comes to YouTube, but a very experienced vibes guy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
you started what year? 2017, 2016, 2018?
I think my first video was late 2015.
Okay, wow. So
but
it's almost been a decade now.
Yeah, I'm coming up on 10 years. Yeah, so I
Wow.
think it's like August 10th is my 10-year anniversary on YouTube.
So one
but
more
keep in
year,
mind,
okay.
my first 100 subscribers took a year to get. My
Wow.
next 1,000 subscribers took another year to get. I think when I met you, I was at 25 or 35,000.
You weren't even at 100 when we met.
I wasn't. No, I was at like 25 or 35,000, and that was like a year and a half ago. I am now at 170 or 180,000. Most of the people who have discovered my channel discovered it in the past year, but if you look at that graph, it is literally just whoop, right?
Yeah.
So I know I'm going in the right direction, and I just have to keep doing what I'm doing. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now with YouTube. I think that like having done it for so long, I know what I'm doing, but I only recently started to do it right.
Yeah, so it really took you a long time to figure that out.
Yeah. And it's because I learned by trial and error.
Yeah, and then again, once you get to a certain point, it's like you've learned so many little things. The payoff will be there at some point, and that's when the exponential jump comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that moment that took it off? Do you know?
Oh, it was the Mimikyu video. Like I said, it was the moment. The moment I recognized that was
the scripted style, that kind of style.
The scripted style was what people wanted. Like I said, I caught a little ember and I poured gasoline on it. I went out, I took my $2,000, bought $2,000 worth of gasoline, and I threw it on there.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. And now, I guess the last question I really have for you is, what can we expect from you in the future now? And what best advice do you have? What is if you could have one message to the world about everyone watching this video? Let's imagine your 190 combined followers are here watching this in one moment. What would you tell them if they want to be like you or be successful in this space?
If you want to be successful in this space, you have to genuinely enjoy what you're doing and not really get caught up in the nitty-gritty of it. I think a lot of people get way too caught up in the logistical side of YouTube, or not the logistical side, but like the numbers game. Like, how do I optimize this and that? And it comes across as less enjoyable for people. People want to watch someone who enjoys what they're talking about. If you were to ever speak to someone about their job and they work at like a factory packaging cheese all day and they have no interest in it, you would not want to hear
You're not
from
gonna
them.
care, yeah.
But if that same person was the most into cheese packaging dude ever, he told you, like, we use the specific saran wrap from Sweden. It's so cool. So in Sweden, like, all of a sudden you get invested in it. If you care about what you're doing and you have a genuine passion, it doesn't matter, like, if you have the best equipment. People will want to hear from you because people are social. You mirror the people that you speak to. If someone's happy when they're speaking to you, you'll put on a smile. You smile at someone, they'll smile back.
Yeah.
You know, like the yawn. If I were to yawn right now, someone yawn, you're not even tired. You're just gonna end up yawning. So if you're enjoying what you're doing, people around you will enjoy seeing you explain it and share that information. So I think above all else, it sounds, like it's that, as long as you're having fun, it sounds like, but it is true
real.
to an extent. The first things first, enjoy what you're doing, make sure you're making good content out of it. And as long as you're willing to follow up and put in the effort past that point, once you catch the ember and throw that gasoline on it, that's what matters. So
Yeah.
just keep chipping away until you get that spark.
And then what's next?
For me,
Yeah.
more of the same for a while until I move to Manhattan or Brooklyn. And then
He's coming to the East Coast, everyone. No more Chicago.
more of the same until I move out east. And then I'm probably going to start taking this a little, obviously I take it seriously, but now I'm going to take it a lot more seriously.
Yeah, I mean, you've already gotten to, like, I would say the top one. What's the top? What? You know what percent of YouTube you're in? Top 1%?
I think I am top 1.
Wow, top 1%.
I don't think many people get past 100,000. Most
Okay.
channels are like 5.
5.
It's skewed,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's where, hey, you're top 1% now. That'll be 0.1% the next year. And again, the best part is you're 25 years old. So there's a lot of growth to be had there. And my last thing I want to thank you with is, what size t-shirt do you wear?
I wear a large.
Large? You like
Yeah.
black stuff? I mean, you're wearing all black. Do you like
Yeah.
black or
Oh,
white?
yeah. Do you think I like? Yeah, I like black. Yeah.
Do you like black or white? Black?
Black. Yeah.
Cool. I have a thank you for you. For you all, coming out here. I know you're a busy guy. You have a lot of stuff on your plate. But we got t-shirts done, and these are not ones that we sell. I know you're thinking about doing merch at some point soon. Guys, stay tuned for Marcus's merch. But these are just, we kind of have exclusive things that we only give out to people who are guests of the show or people who work on our team. And this is our first investment, I would say, like, after all of this, that we like can actually give to people other than the content we make. I know it's something small, but it means a lot to me. What we're doing here is actually our 5th guest, Carly Stillwagon. Shout out Carly and Elite Custom Apparel. They made these for us. And I want to, give this to you as a thank you for being part of the Growth Street gang, the Growth Street family. And that's for you to wear. When you go to the gym, I know my brother, he's right here. He always wears it to the gym.
Yeah.
A lot of my previous guests, they actually will post videos of them always wearing it. Like today, my last guest, Jawan, he's actually an agent for athletes. He posted on his story, he does a thing called Word of the Day. His word of the day is growth. I can literally show you the video right now, and he's wearing the Growth Street t-shirt in
That's
the story,
so cool.
screaming at the camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hope you like it. I know it's soft. We're trying to get as high quality as we could get it.
Yeah.
But that's for you. And more than anything, I know we're already boys. Like you're my brother, but I really do appreciate you coming out here, man. And again, I'm glad to get you over here in the East Coast permanently sometime soon. The way you are right now, you really are an inspiration to me because I want to be, someone like you in my space. And that when it's said and done, and learning from like my best friends is something that I always like really am appreciative for. So thank you, man. And this is your chance. I want to give you the floor to say any thank yous you have to the camera. Shout out. This is your moment of say whatever you want to say.
Thanks for watching. Shout out to Asura MJ for the channel art. Your local Dingus and Mercury. Hire them. I give them a lot of work, but give them more. They do editing and art. They are the reason I'm successful. So I have a good team behind me. So give them more work.
Yeah, no, that's real. And I want everyone who's watching this, I mean, a lot of you are probably coming from Marcos's following too, but I want you guys to go watch Marcos, subscribe to Moxie Boosted. It's, I think more than with the actual content you're making, your personality is what really shines through and makes it different. I think that's what made you really stand out. So if you want really good content, you want to laugh, you want to enjoy, you want to learn something new, when we get involved in this Pokemon space, I think, Marcos is the best channel, in my opinion, to go for and watch. He's funny, he's young, he's relatable, and he creates good stuff. So genuinely appreciate you. And I think we're going to push this out everywhere. And again, if there's anything else you want to say real quick before we go, that's all I have for you today, man.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate
you.
you. I hope you guys liked the episode. Please like it. Maybe leave a comment. If you want to watch more of our videos, go to our channel and subscribe. That way in the future, you actually get notified of those into your inbox totally free. We'll see you next time. Thanks.